Hello Virgo, and welcome to your new moon lunar cycle insight video for the cycle beginning with the new moon in Libra on the 8th or 9th of October, depending on where you are in the world, and culminating with the new moon in Scorpio on the 7th of November. So as we know, this is a very deep, intense lunar cycle as Venus moves through the heart of her retrograde phase. I am calling this cycle the cycle of evolution through relationship, because regardless of where these energies fall in our own personal birth chart, which can definitely indicate areas of special focus, this cycle for all of us will be about cleansing, purifying, and opening the heart, dealing with the residue of previous relationships. And this doesn't mean just romantic relationships or intimate relationships, but also relationships with friends, family, co-workers. Anyone that you have had a connection with can come up to be revisited during this period. It's a time of really rebirthing our heart center and learning about ourselves through the mirror of other people. So it's a very, very alchemical period. We will be having 5 planets in Scorpio by the time we get to the Scorpio moon on the 7th of November. So the area of Scorpio in our birth chart is very, very highlighted. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But first, let's have a look at which house the new moon falls in for you, Virgo. So for yourself, this is going to be the 2nd house, which is a house that is traditionally ruled over by Venus. And it's going to be in the sign of Libra, the sign of the scales, and in square to Pluto, who is currently in your 5th house along with Saturn. He's been there since 2009. Saturn's been there since late last year. So we have a little focus around this energy of authentic self-expression and self-love going on at the moment. And this moon can really highlight that process for you, Virgo. And also it can really make you look at how you are using your unique talents and gifts in ways that can help you create financial security and financial abundance as well, and the relationships that might be connected with that. So relationships with people that you work with, relationships with people you're in business with, relationships with people that you are in creative partnership with, and how your relationships impact your ability to be your authentic self. So we open the lunar cycle on this intense note, and it's very interesting because obviously the moon is in Libra, where Venus will be retrograding back to, and she's obviously the ruler of Libra, one of the signs that she rules over, and Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. So this moon really brings in the themes of Venus retrograde, which, as I discussed in your last video, is taking place in your 3rd house. So we've also got Jupiter finishing a 12-month cycle up here as well. He's been there since October last year. So we're finishing up these themes that we've been working with for 12 months. And of course, Mercury is going to head into your 3rd house, into Scorpio, just after the new moon. And the Sun is going to make his annual transit of this space on the 23rd. So there's a huge emphasis on this space of your birth chart, which is related to the throat chakra, which is related to communication. And Scorpio, of course, is the sign of revealing what is hidden. It's the sign of perception. It's the sign of deep sharing and intimacy. So we can see one of the key themes that is going on around this cycle for you is how you use your throat, how you use your voice to express your deepest desires and needs, how you use your voice in relation to other people. So for a sign such as yourself, Virgo, who is very geared towards helping others, this can be very much around asserting boundaries, calling back power, calling back your ability to say no, your ability to disconnect from relationships that are not serving you. And the third house is particularly associated with our social networks and connections, so it can deal with friends in a similar way to the 11th house. So this can be a time where issues might need to be talked over, not only with beloveds but with friends as well, or there might be stuff happening on social media that calls you out to use your voice, to share your innermost feelings. But either way, we're looking at really expressing what is true for you at this time, really talking about what's on your mind, what's weighing on your heart, and allowing yourself to be heard and seen in the way that you allow others to be heard and seen, Virgo. So that's the emphasis that is really strong this month, which will be brought to culmination and deeper illumination by the Taurus full moon. So we're having a Taurus full moon on the 24th of October. And of course the moon will sit opposite the sun, as always, who will be coming up to conjunction with retrograde Venus. The moon is conjunct Uranus, who has been transiting your 9th house since May this year, and is also in square to those north and south nodes that we've been working with so powerfully over the summer in your 6th and 12th houses. So for all of us, this is a moon of deep release, deep illumination around the key themes of Venus retrograde. Of course, love, intimacy, the sharing of resources. And for yourself, Virgo, this can really illuminate the axis of higher wisdom, higher learning, higher truth in the 9th house. So we're really looking at this axis here of really knowing what our truth is and then being able to share it, to express it out to the world. So perhaps you are also looking at a time of spiritual awakening as well. Perhaps your relationships are leading you deeper into knowing what spiritual truth is for you. They are catalyzing you, perhaps some old bitterness or some old stuff that you've kept locked inside. We can now start to use it as a stepping stone, as a tool to access higher guidance. And quite often when we have a relationship breakdown of some kind, or we have difficulties in our relationship, it can call us more deeply into our spiritual practice. We feel like, okay, I need to heal this in myself, so we look for a book, we look for a teacher, we go to a workshop, and in that way these relationships can propel us forward. So perhaps there's something like that going on. And also it can be a deep reworking of our beliefs around what is valuable to us and how valuable we are as well, particularly as we move into the heart of the Venus cycle, when Venus conjuncts the Sun just 2 days after the full moon on the 26th of October. So this is the point of the Venus retrograde, where Venus really meets herself. She conjoins the Sun, she enters the vault of light, she goes into the underworld, and she looks her shadow self in the eye. She looks at all those things that she has suppressed, that she has ignored, that she shamed herself for, that others have shamed her for. And with Scorpio, we can be particularly looking at those more taboo subjects in our society, such as sex, death, desire. And she starts to reclaim these fragments of herself. She starts to come back into wholeness. And after this point, she's going to ascend, she's going to begin to rise up out of the underworld because she's faced her fears. So for you, Virgo, this can be to do with speaking your truth, with really vocalizing your needs, with really not being afraid to say how you are really deeply feeling, and being honored and witnessed amongst all of the other Venus stuff that is collective. So after this period, Venus moves back into Libra. She moves back into your second house on the 31st of October, on the festival of Samhain or Halloween for us here in the Northern Hemisphere, and the festival of Beltane for you in the Southern Hemisphere. So it's very interesting because both Samhain and Beltane deal with these scorpionic frequencies of letting go and sacred sexuality, of alchemy through intimacy, which is another key theme of the Venus retrograde. The more we allow people to see us, the more we allow other people to really know who we are, the more that they can love us. If we are only showing people the positive, happy, soft and gentle Libra side of ourselves and hiding away the scorpionic, deeper side, then we can't ever be really truly loved because we haven't let anyone see us in our totality. So another key message from the Venus retrograde there. And she's going to, like I say, move back into Libra on this most profound and energetically potent day. And this is really significant because not only does she shift signs, but she also makes what is known as her helical rise. So this means that she is visible again in the sky. She's come out of the darkness, out of the underworld, and now we see her as the morning star. We see her on the horizon just before dawn, shining her brightest, or shining very brightly. So for the ancient astrologers and astronomers who were very, very connected with the cycles of Venus, in fact, I think some of the first astrological writings are recorded on tablets from ancient times are about Venus retrograde. It was one of the most significant points of focus for the ancient people because she signified all beautiful things. And of course, to them, she was the great goddess. So she moves back into Libra, one of the signs that she rules over, and begins this new cycle. And she will be working with the archetype of Libra now for the next 18 months until she makes another retrograde journey, begins another cycle. So for all of us, this is a really powerful thing because Venus in Libra, of course, is going to bring people together in harmony, in cooperation, in conscious community and collaboration. It's going to aid with the coming together of souls in union, in relationship, and balancing the masculine and feminine within and without. So it's very, very significant. And for you, this takes place in the second house, Virgo, where we had this new moon at the beginning of the month. So this can be a new beginning for you in the areas of finances, of resources, of self-value and self-worth. So perhaps over the next 18 months, you're going to draw forward people that can really support you and help you create balance in this area of your life. So it's very, very auspicious. After this point, on the same day, on the 31st, Samhain, Beltane, Mercury is going to move into Sagittarius, which for you is the fourth house, the foundational space of the birth chart, Virgo, the womb space, the space of memory, of ancestral lineage, of the mother line. And he's going to go retrograde there next month. And also Jupiter's going to move into this space of your birth chart for the first time in 12 years too. So pay attention to the messages that are happening, that are coming forward around these areas of your life, because they're going to be very significant over the coming weeks and months. And then we will find ourselves at the Scorpio New Moon, which gives us an opportunity to rebirth ourselves in the areas that we've been so deeply working with over this previous lunar cycle with the Scorpio and the heart of Venus retrograde. So we'll talk about those energies more next time. But for now, I'm going to pick you a card for the month, as I always do, Virgo, from the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reid. So I'm just going to shuffle and pick a card for you. Very appropriate. So that really says it all. Birth and rebirth. So this is obviously a reminder of the Scorpio energies, that everything has to die to be reborn. Change is the natural cycle of life, and after death comes rebirth. So whatever or whoever you are letting go of at this time, Virgo, know that it will be replaced by something that is more in alignment with you and who you are becoming. And I also feel to say, Virgo, that you are a sign that can feel anxious when things are not in your control. Scorpio is the sign of the great mystery. It is the blackness that is undefinable and uncontrollable. So please, please, please don't go into fear. Don't go into worry about letting go of the old. Just allow these energies to move and manifest and create change in whichever way they need to do so. And be sure to practice your own self-care during this time if you do find yourself becoming a little bit agitated or nervous. So practice looking after yourself, looking after your body, particularly as Mars is still moving through your 6th house of health and healing. So be aware that things can feel a bit more inflamed than usual at this time. And if there is tension in the physical body or imbalance in the physical body, then this can be a time where you can really work with detoxification and purification. And just honour your sensitivity, Virgo. Honour who you are and really use that voice. When we vocalise things that have been bothering us, or things that we've held back for years, then we really create space for new energy to enter our lives. But we have to get through the first painful part of the process before we get to that space of rebirth and new things coming in. So it's just a gentle reminder of that eternal cycle of life of which we are all beholden to. So I hope that you've enjoyed this reading, Virgo. Thank you for listening to me, and you can connect with me further through my Facebook pages and groups if you choose to do so. The links are below the video, and you can also reach out to me for readings if you would like to. I'm sending you so much love for a deeply healing and transformative cycle, Virgo.